everybody? CoKnowPro. We put a zip wall up. This is a temporary barrier to keep dust out from the living area. All right, this is a zipper wall right here. Let's go in and check it out. All right, so see how we furred out that wall? Like I said we'd fur out. Boom, it's all ready to go. We put some rigid insulation in there. The homeowner's refrigerator is right on the other side. That is an interior wall, but the fridge is on the other side and it's a little loud while she's sleeping. So we put that rigid insulation there to keep the noise down while her refrigerator starts activating, creating ice or whatever. It'll be quiet in here for her. There's all the existing insulation. We installed some new can lights that are all insulation contact rated. You see that? We got a new ceiling fan rated box right there. We put some new straps on the existing framing, just to help button it up. It didn't call for that or anything, but I went ahead and did it anyways, just because it'll help the structure. We threw in some new framing due to a little bit of termite rot, so we threw some new framing in there. We got a new plug here, new plug there. These are nail-on plates that after you drill through the stud, you have to put these nail-on plates per code, so that way when you're putting the drywall in, a screw won't go into your Romex in there, okay? Into your wiring, basically. And you have to make sure when you drill through those holes, you want to be, about halfway in the stud back. You don't want to be within an inch close to this lip here. But if you do, no matter what, if you do end up being close, even if you're back, you have to put a nail plate there per code. That'll protect it. If someone throws a long screw in there, they can still hit it, even if you're way back. So have to have a nail plate, okay? All right, we preserve the windows. So here we are, we got the R13 insulation. Got another plug down here. Existing wall to remain. Okay, we got another plug over there we ran, put some pressure blocks. Ran some R13 insulation. That is an exterior wall to the outdoor patio. So we insulated that. All right, per code, we have to put a smoke detector. We did that. And if you're wondering why all those pieces of wood are on the existing ceiling joists, is because those are first strips, all right? 1x2 first strips that we installed because whoever did the remodel, 30 years ago, their elevation was wrong, okay? And the existing lath and plaster was a little thicker when we took it down, and then the new drywall or whatever they had up on the existing ceiling over there was beadboard, drywall, whatever. And when we took that all down, there was a different elevation, okay? So because of that, we had to fur it out with these first strips. So now when you put the level on, everything's level and all the joists are the same reveal. Reveal meaning it's all the same level. It's all the same. So when you put the drywall up, you won't have any areas that bow. And then these are some right here. If you look, these are some strips. They're actually cardboard strips that come with drywall, to buy next to the drywall at the local hardware store. Those strips, you can throw a couple of those strips down. They're little, about an 1/8 inch thick. And those strips will help too as well. We had a little bit of a gap after we put the first strips. Those strips are gonna help, okay? All right, here's a couple tools. We're about to start throwing insulation. Insulation. We're about to start throwing some gypsum board up, which is drywall. Okay, this is some 5/8 ultralight drywall. I like to use the ultralight because it's ultralight. It's a lot lighter than dealing with the traditional 5/8 drywall. So we got a measuring tape. This is a keyhole saw for cutting through drywall. Good hammer there. This is my box cutter utility knife I'm going to use to actually cut the drywall. This is a regular screw gun with a impact drill with an extension on here. This extension's great, but this tip will not work for doing the drywall install. You're going to want to take that tip off, and you're going to want to put this tip on. Okay, you see this tip here? How it has a flush. It has a flush, level there. So basically, when you screw it off, when you put the screw on and you screw through the drywall, this won't allow you to penetrate through the drywall. Okay, so if you look, see how it leaves a little ring? That's the way it's going to look after we put the drywall in. It won't let the drywall screw go all the way through the paper, because you don't want it to go through the paper, because that's not code. You want to keep it from breaking the paper, but you want it to have it set in just a little bit to be flush so you can put your plaster down. Okay, so you need your screw gun with that. This gun actually has a cone. This is a cone that actually you can adjust so your screws don't get sunk down into the drywall too far. Okay, this is a nice little tool here. It's a Rotozip basically, and this is to cut out the holes, electronically versus hand with the keyhole saw. This will do it fast. I like this for the can lights, cutting around the can lights. You're gonna need that. This is a chalk line to run my lines. Just, you know, measure here, measure there, run my line, cut them down the middle. This is a cheese grater. This actually is basically like a, you know, a planer. It's a drywall planer, and this is to use to smooth off the drywall edges. Once you cut them, they're a little rough. This will smooth it off. You got your pencil, got some gloves. I always wear gloves and always have a mask. All right, there's my mask. We like to always rock a mask no matter what for safety. This is really dusty work. This is a Drywall Square. Of course, I've been using it for about 10 years, but still trusty and square. See there, you can get your measurements. If you want a 4-inch cut, you just measure 4 inches, 4 inches that, whatever. You draw your line, bring it over to your line, you square it, you cut it, there's your board. All right, everybody, I'm gonna start rocking on this drywall.
So we got all the ceiling basically drywalled off. We're gonna go back through and make sure all our screws are screwed off and everything. Okay, before we started doing the drywall, we had it inspected. We had all the rough electrical inspected, the plugs, we had everything inspected. The insulation, passed inspection with flying colors. So now we're working on the drywall. We got the lid drywalled. Now we're going to start doing this wall. I want to do a little demonstration on how to do the wall. Bear with me, everybody. I got my mask on because we got to keep it safe regardless if I'm trying to shoot a video or not. Alright, so first off, what we're going to start off by doing is measuring right here. Okay, actually before we do that, we're going to make sure our layout is marked out. See all those lines right there? This is my 2x4 here. Make sure it's all lined up. You can do it like that, you can do it like that. Lined off there. Make sure we're lined off up top, okay? See these screws right here? That's basically our mark that tells us where this 2x4 is. If that screw wasn't there, then we'd have to have a mark there. We know that is where a stud is, right? So we'll go ahead and put a mark here and a mark there to get that done. But first off, what we're going to do is we're going to stand our sheets vertical, okay? You can lay them horizontal or you can lay them vertical. Whatever way has least butt joints. And what I mean by butt joints is this. Let me show you what a butt joint is. This is a butt joint, okay? This side is called a mud joint, okay? You want to always have this touching this part. This has a little indentation in it, and that's for the tape and mud, okay? So these are called, this is the factory edge, mud seam, and this is the butt joint. And you'll see as we get going what that means. So we want to have the least amount of butt joints as possible. If we lay them down, we'll have one there, one there, one there. We'll have a lot. If we stand them up, we'll just have a couple. All right, so let's rock. This is the first thing we do. Is we check our layout. So we measure. See there, we're not on 16 on center from this wall. Okay, see the 32? So we got to find our 16 on center. So if we start at the first one, there it is, 16 on center. Let's see, yep, you see all the red marks? That's 16 on center, okay? But I'm not going to cut a little piece and put it there, that's too small. So I'm going to cut a piece to here, and I'm going to have my cut end go to the wall. So my mud seam is right here to receive my next piece. Let's make sure it'll work. 48 on the money, center over there. 48 right here, good. And we'll go ahead and continue to make sure our layout is good. 16 on center, 16 on center, 16 on center. Looks good, perfect. Okay, so now, next thing is, this wall is an old lath and plaster wall. Probably not level at all. Let's check. Nope, not level at all. About a half an inch off. Almost an inch off. So what we're going to do, we're going to stand our first sheet right here and we're going to slam it to the ceiling. Okay? So what we're going to do is measure up top. See out there, we got about 20 inches and a half. So we'll go 20 up, 20 and a half up top. Then down low, it's going to be, look at that, 21 inches. So, yeah, about a half inch off. Not too bad. All right, and let's see how high we are. Our sheets of drywall come at 8 foot high. See how high we got this? So look, we're at 8 foot 3 inches basically. So we're gonna take this one and put it to the ceiling. Then we'll put a 3-inch ripper on the bottom. Okay, then the next one we'll drop down and put a 3-inch ripper on the top, which is great. That's how you do it. You stagger your joints. All right, so let's rock. Okay, so I make sure I know what side is the bottom. Okay, and the bottom was 21 inches. Right, so I'll mark my 21. And then the top over there was 20.5. And this is going to go up like that. And this is my mud seam. That's going to go on that stud. All right, 20.5. Throw. Chalk line. Snap. See how I snap my chalk line? Awesome tool. This is 5/8, so when you cut, you have to push really hard. It's not that easy to cut all the way through or to get a straight line. But try your best. After you do it a while, you'll get pretty good. I've been doing it for over 20 years and I'm still, still hard to get a straight line. Okay, so see how we cut that all the way through? We actually went about that deep in the blade going through. So you can pass it over one more time if you'd like. If not, it's cool. Now, typically you would stand it up, fold it, and break it. Cut it actually, right? So you take your razor blade, stand the sheet up, and you just grab it like that and you bend it. See how I bent it like that? See how that bent? Okay, you can, after it's bent like that, take your razor blade while it's bent, cut that open. Make sure you do it on the ground so it's safe. Or you can do another little technique. It's like this, you go like this, and then you snap it back. Okay? Like this, and then you go like that. See how I did that? Bam, there's my piece. Okay, then I take my cheese grater, right? Make sure, see how that edge is rough? You want to smooth that up a little bit. Bam, clean. So that goes back in your bag so you don't lose it. And we'll take our piece. Okay, make sure there's no old nails on the studs on the 2x4s. You can take your hammer, you can go along the wood like this. Make sure you're clear, pretty clear, all the way up. We're nice and clear. And then set this here, dry fit it first. See that? See how clean that is? Boom. Sure we're snugged up tight. A little bit of debris fell, so I'll make sure that's clean. Out of my way. Good. It's good. Okay. Set it back. Our most important thing here is you want to be center of this 2x4. Looks like we're pretty good. See how that's center? Then our next piece, you have meat to screw on there, meat to screw on here. So then we'll take this, set that in. See, it's not going anywhere now. We're locked in. See this drill? It has a cone. It doesn't allow the screw tip to penetrate the paper. Okay? If it does, then you just adjust it. You see that? This way or that way, depending on what you need. So I put one screw there. Now I can push in on the bottom, Make sure we're good. Okay, that looks great. Just knock that in. Okay. We got our 2x4 over here. That in. Goes all the way up. Okay. So now what we'll do is in the edge here, we'll put, every 6 inches. So we'll go every 6 inches, 6 to 4 inches, okay, all the way up that edge. And then in the mid span, that's my perimeter. These are my perimeters. This is my mid span. Any nails that are in the center of the drywall is my mid span. So in the mid span, we'll go 10 inches. That's a little less, but you can eye it. Okay, right there, bam. And then on the seams, on my perimeter screwing, we'll go 4 inches. Okay, good for now. Get a couple up top. The ladder, please. Okay, there we go. Okay. This will knock into that top plate. You see how tight that seam is? That's what we want, okay? Boom. Now, see how awesome that is, that drill? Just locks in right there. Killer, right? Now we're gonna run our next sheet. See that little piece we'll have to piece in? No problem, quick and easy, right? Then we'll piece in this piece now. We're going out, let's see where our 48. Our sheets are 4 foot. So 48 is gonna land us right there, center. See that? Bam, it's good to me. It's a little bit past center, but it's gonna be fine. And if we continue, and the next one is even further past center, and we need to add a piece of wood for nailing, we'll do that, okay? But I'm just gonna demonstrate this next sheet. Let's get it up. So we have a cool little box we can cut out too, that I can show everybody. Okay, what I like to do, personally, I know this sheet's gonna go to the ground. It's gonna sit on the ground. So what I'll do is I'll just lift up my sheet of drywall. Like so. Always be careful what you're doing. Then I'll just take this and I'll set it right here so I'm right next to where I'm working. Okay? So first thing, you measure, you butt it to this factory edge, the other piece of drywall, your first piece, your starter piece. 16 on center, look at that, perfect. 16 on center, perfect. So then we're going to measure out to here. So that box is 44 inches and 3/4 by 47 1/4. You see that? I took it, I'm measuring from here. See, I butt it 44 3/4 by 47 1/4. I'm going to take those two measurements, 44 3/4 by 47 1/4. You see that? Then I'll take this measurement off the ground because we're butting it to the ground. Probably go right inside there. It's going to be 10. I'm going to give it a little bit of gap, a little bit of room. 10.5 by 14 3/4. All right, so bottom 10.5, top 14 3/4, right? So then I'll go over to here. This is my side that's going to touch there. I'll hook it. What is it? 44 3/4. 44 3/4. Bam. By 47 1/4, which is right on the edge of my 8 foot. So that's fine. Then I'll measure 10.5 off the ground by 14 3/4. So look, we're a little low, but it's fine. 10.5 by 14 3/4. See that? Take your square and go like that. You can measure those out, or you can take a level like this. Make sure your level says level. Okay. Make sure your level is level. You see the bubble in between the two lines. You mark it. So that's my electrical outlet. Okay. Can you pass me the Rotozip, por favor? So then here, well, I'm going to cut this out. Okay, you can use this and cut it out. Okay, or you can use this, which is amazing. We got power? Yes. So see that? Make sure there's nothing behind you. It's all clear back there. Yep, it's clear. Let's roll. Punch it in. Bam! See that? Great. That's what we want. See, if we would have used this right here on this edge, it going in and out could have broken. It typically usually breaks that when you're trying to do that, which is fine if that breaks. You can throw a couple screws. That's all going to get plastered, so it's no big deal. That's why I like this tool. Okay, we're cut out for that. We're ready to go. Okay, make sure I have my drill next to me. We're all good. Take this. See that seam? You want that seam tight. See that? Tight seam. Tight seam. That's what we want. Come over here, check. Perfect. We're still center on the 2x4. Good. My drywall gun. Load it up. Okay, remember I want to stagger. So I'll put this one right there. Boom. Then, remember my marks for my 2x4s are right there. So we know we had a 2x4 right there. Stagger. Bam. Okay. Then what I'll do is I'll just go down this stud. You could take a 6-foot level. You could scribe down all your lines. That way you really know for sure your center of your 2x4. Okay, 10 inches. Every 10 inches. Boom. These guns are cool. You can even turn it on. You can push the button, it'll stay on. Then you can just... Alright. Check out how everything looks down here. That seam looks good. We still got a good enough meat for our 2x4 for our next piece of drywall going that way. See how important it is to be 16 on center? When you frame, these existing framers framed a long time ago, you know, they did okay. They did really bad on the ceiling. We had to add a bunch of framing, bunch of drywall backing, but that's another video, another time. You want to stagger. You never want them right next to each other. You want to have basically screw, 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 then you stagger. Screw, 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 screw. You see that? So if the seam starts to separate, it's harder. It gives it more strength. It's like a zipper effect. And you see how this is the mud lip? Factory to factory. Mud lip. It sort of dives in. That's where you want to put your tape and apply your mud. Okay? You don't want to have this cut edge right here, or have a cut edge coming from that side in the field. You don't want to do that. So if you check your layout first, you should only have a cut edge on that side and a cut edge all the way at the other end of the wall when you're diving at the other wall, touching the other wall. All right? You see how that's all perfect? Our notch came out good. I'm gonna get all this drywall hung.
We're at drywall finished. All the drywall's finished off now. As you can see, boom, boom, all done. See how our seams are tight? See our screwing, screw, 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 and see our screws just barely penetrate. Like they just want to push in the paper. Okay? It's okay if you have a little bit of this, but not a lot. But you want to stagger like this, stagger like this, stagger like that, stagger all the way down. Now see, this is the corner bead. This goes on the edge. Okay? It's basically metal like this. Okay, so you measure up to there, you cut it. I use drywall nails. Okay, the drywall nails are good to nail in. When you use the screws, when you dig in too much with the screw and you go too tight, it'll bend your edge. It'll pull this edge in. So if you use drywall nails, 1.5 inch drywall nails, it helps you have a little more control as far as tacking it in and not bending this. The drill sometimes it'll screw it in and mess this all up. Okay, so that's the corner bead. That has to go on our edge. So here's that furred out section of the wall that we did. Here's our top corner bead. So now what we're gonna do, now that we have all the drywall done, bam. So here's the drywall tape, okay? This drywall tape, this is a fiber mesh, self-adhering drywall tape. Okay, so basically what you do, as he finished screwing off everything, all the drywall, this seam is done here, so I can demonstrate how to do this. So basically, you take this like this, put that on your top edge right there, push it in, like so, bam. Sometimes you'll get little pieces that overlap like that. Just be careful, cut it off. All right, run that down like that. See that? Take it all the way down. Push as you go down. If you find that it's not sticking, there might be some dust on it from the drywall dust, you can take a rag or an actual piece of this mesh and use it to wipe the seam like this. You can take it and fold it with the sticky side out, and you can wipe the seam and it'll help stick better if it doesn't stick that well. And you got that. I always do all the vertical seams. So I'll do vertical, vertical, vertical. Then I'll go through and do my horizontal seam there, horizontal seam there. I usually like to throw a little bit around the electrical boxes too. You know, basically just around all the boxes. Anywhere you need it to dial in, maybe a little bit around the can light. All the seams will get this tape. All right, I'll show you how it looks after we get it all up. All right, everybody, CoKnowPro coming at you. See you on the next one. Later.